Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to unlock a really powerful pattern in English. You hear it all the time, but you might not even realize it. Trust me, getting this down is the key to sounding way more natural when you're talking about, asking people to do things or persuading them. Okay, let's jump right in. So, have you ever found yourself pausing over something like this? She made me wait. She told me to wait. Why does one have to and the other doesn't? They feel so similar, right? Well, that tiny little word makes a huge difference, and by the end of this, you are going to know exactly what's going on. All right, first things first, let's break down the basic pattern. This is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about today. So at its core, this whole structure is about one person influencing another person's actions. It's how we talk about causing someone to do something or asking them, or just plain expecting them to act a certain way. You could almost call it the grammar of influence. And when you look at it, the structure is actually pretty simple. You've got your subject, she, the main verb, told, the object, which is me, and then the action they want to happen, to wait. It's got this really logical flow, Who did what to whom and what happens next. Okay, so next up, let's get to know the verbs that really make this pattern work. I kind of like to think of them as the boss verbs. And it makes sense when you think about it, right? A boss gives orders, makes requests, encourages the team. And that's exactly what these verbs are doing in a sentence. They're in charge, they're directing the action of the other person. So pretty good way to remember them. Now, these boss verbs kind of fall into three main groups. First, you have the persuasion verbs, things like advise or tell. Then you've got the verbs that are all about wanting something, like want or would like. These are about your desire for someone else's action. And finally, the ones that actually cause something to happen, like cause or inspire. Here's a perfect example of one of those persuasion verbs in action. The subject, the teacher, is doing the encouraging. And who are they encouraging? The object, us. And what's the action they want? To speak English. See how that boss verb is directing the students? It's pretty clear. And here's another great one, this time with a wanting verb. I want. That expresses the desire. But it's not about what I'm going to do. It's about what I want you to do, which is, to be honest. This structure lets you state your intention for someone else's behavior so directly. All right, so you know how it is. In every good system, there are always a few exceptions, and English grammar has plenty. So now it's time to meet the rebels, the few special verbs that actually break our rule. When you put them side by side like this, the difference just pops, doesn't it? Allowed is our standard boss verb, so it needs to use. But its close cousin let is a total rule breaker. It feels more direct, more immediate. It just drops the to. You simply let someone use something. So, the good news is there are only a few of these rebels to remember. The big two are make and let. They never use to when they're active like this. You make someone do something, you let someone do something. Help is the cool, flexible one. You can say, helped me carry, or helped me to carry. Both are totally correct, but you'll probably hear it without the to more often in casual conversation. Okay, so you've got the basic rule down, and you've met the exceptions. Ready to level up? Let's check out a couple of more advanced moves, making negatives and using the passive voice. Making this structure negative is surprisingly easy. You don't mess with don't or didn't or anything like that. All you do is just slide the word not right in front of the to infinitive. So they told me to move becomes they told me not to move. Super simple, right? And it sounds so clean. Now, this is where things get really interesting. The passive voice. This is when we focus on the person who's receiving the order. So you get sentences like, he was told to leave. But check this out. Our rule breaker, make, has a total change of heart. In the passive voice, it actually brings the to back. So, she made me cry becomes, I was made to cry. This is one of those little details that really separates advanced speakers. So let's pull all this together. Why is getting this one pattern right such a major upgrade for your English?